WWE Saturday night's main event is tomorrow night. We're watching SmackDown tonight. We're live now. It's Wrestling Uncensored. Zoom out. Zoom in. Let's go out.
Whoa.
And we reveal that I'm not alone. You are not alone. I am here. All right. We can't start the show singing. They're gonna hate it. We're watching SmackDown right now. Johnny North, we are here. We're having a good time on a Friday night watching professional wrestling. Why not? Why not? Who doesn't like wrestling? It's Carmelo Hayes, who seemed like he really didn't want to wrestle Damian Priest when Damian Priest was presented to them. I guess Priest is on SmackDown now. Mm-hmm. They're moving people from one show to another for some reason. They're calling it a transfer window. I think they're trying to be like soccer. They do transfer windows in soccer, right? Isn't that a thing?
That sounds...
I don't follow soccer in that way.
That sounds like a thing.
Right?
It sounds about right. I don't remember a transfer window lasting months and months, but I guess it can here.
You can purchase a contract from another club.
I don't know.
The idea.
Well, it seems like that's what's happening because Damian Priest is on SmackDown now, and they're like, "Oh, Carmelo Hayes, you're gonna wrestle a guy tonight," and he's like, "Who's it gonna be?" He's like, "Well, you'll see." And then Damian Priest walks in, and Carmelo's like, "This is terrible," and Nick Aldis is like, "Hey, Priest, this guy wants to wrestle you," and Carmelo's like, "No, not really." And then Priest is like, "Okay, let's wrestle." I was like, what? But Damian Priest is the babyface in this situation. And the match is happening now. Many matches happening tonight on SmackDown. It's a 3-hour show. It goes on forever and ever.
On and on, on and on.
Yeah, we go on and on. And that was a highlight for me tonight. Pretty deadly. They are so pretty. They are pretty deadly. What a match.
Did Pretty Deadly win? I believe the answer is no, boy.
They were close.
They did not win.
They've never really been given a shot to be close before. They're usually booked to not even come close to having a near fall on their opponent. So they're baby steps.
Yeah, they hit their finish there, and we all popped in the living room.
Oh yeah,
us, my son, we were like, "Oh my God, are they actually gonna do it?" And then it was a 2 count. He kicked out. It was very close, near fall that we all bought in. We all bought in for. So we're very excited about Pretty Deadly. The prospects of Pretty Deadly, as you could tell, they were much bigger than their opponents, the Motor City Machine Guns. They have a cool look. They're young. They have a fun theme song. They have a good gimmick. They can talk. They're improving in the ring. Pretty Deadly is the future of the SmackDown Tag Team division, and we're starting to see that, and I think that's the biggest benefit of having this much time for everybody to get some TV space, for everybody to get a match or two. Pretty Deadly is being used way more in this new era of WWE on Netflix here in Canada and internationally, and on the USA Network, I guess, in the States. So I like that. They didn't win, but, it was a long match, and they had their moments.
The crowd was with them.
The crowd was starting to get with them. There was a yes boy sign. I'm telling you, John, we have been on Pretty Deadly since the very beginning, and it's starting to happen, and you can see it starting to happen too. They have this thing with the tag team champions, the DIY, where they kind of help the DIY, but the DIY don't help them, and they're starting to question Ciampa and Gargano, like, "Hey, what's going on? How come you're not helping?" It's like, "Well, you got to do it yourself and go and get it done." And, Ciampa's kind of harder on them than Gargano is. Gargano's like, "Yes, boy." He's trying to keep them as like stooges to help them keep the tag team titles, but at the same time, they're not returning the favor with Pretty Deadly. So Pretty Deadly, even though they're kind of positioned as heels in the match, like tonight against Motor City Machine Guns, they're kind of baby faces in the overall story that they're doing. And then they have Legado del Fantasma kind of in their face backstage, and they're heels. So you could see the seeds being planted for a Pretty Deadly babyface turn, where they turn on the DIY and they take the tag team titles at WrestleMania, which will be the greatest. Yes, boy! Soon everyone will take off their shirts and put them over their heads and yell, yes, boy, when Pretty Deadly enters the arena. It will be a beautiful sight. Everybody will love it. Yes, boy is going to take over the WWE, and you can sit there and say, no, boy, all you want, Johnny North, but you are going to learn to accept it. It's happening. Pretty Deadly is happening. I'm loving that. That's, to me, the best part of SmackDown. I know it's not like a highlight to a lot of people. I talked to a guy who's a wrestling fan, and I was like, oh, Pretty Deadly. He didn't even know who I was talking about. He didn't even know who they were. I was like, what? What do you mean? I'm like, these guys are going to be the best. He's like, who? I'm like, yes, boy. He's like, what? I was like, do you watch wrestling? He's like, yeah, but he's, he's not watching all the SmackDowns. He's missing out.
They're just getting started.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, they're going to.
Reminds me a lot of the New Day.
We have their action figures. Like, we're fully in. My son in the video game in 2K, he made Pretty Deadly both 100. Like, they're both like ranked, like he leveled them up to 100 each. They're unstoppable. Pretty
Stronger
Deadly.
than Roman Reigns.
In our house, Pretty Deadly, they're already the tag team champions. It's just a matter of time. The rest of the world has to catch up.
Reminds me of the New Day. How, like, when the New Day started doing their thing, the audience was, like, booing them.
They're like, what is this?
And then, little by little, people were going, actually,
yeah.
And then, or oh, no, or whoo.
Or the Yes Movement with Bryan Danielson.
Well, the Yes Movement, exactly.
This is the Yes Boy movement.
Yeah. I'm surprised they haven't gone with that yet.
Oh, my God. It's happening. The Yes Boy movement is happening, Johnny North. How do you like the apples? How do you like all the apples?
Well, I have a big question for you. We're going down a rabbit hole with this one.
Uh-oh.
What happened to Pretty Deadly, the musical? I thought they were pushing that for a while, and they've kind of died.
Well, it's hard to get all that money together. These productions are expensive.
Yeah, I think that was, a kind of in-between story gimmick to keep them relevant. It was something they came up with, and now they're going in a slightly different direction. I don't think Pretty Deadly, the musical, was going to amount to that much. They were kind of doing their thing. They were kind of backup for Tiffy Time at one point. Like, that was a couple of weeks, and that disappeared for some reason. They were trying to find a spot for them, and they really didn't have one. But now that they're focusing more on the tag division because they have 3 hours of SmackDown, now they're just integrating them in the tag division, which makes a lot of sense. Mm-hmm. All that stuff was like, in the past were Pretty Deadly. That's the origin story, John.
And I gotta say, they had a segment I remember where they sang like a bit of it, and like they put some effort into it.
It was good.
There was it was something. It wasn't like something that seemed like they just threw it together 5 minutes before. It was something like they rehearsed. They did a little dance, and it was like, these guys try to maximize their minutes.
They're actually funny.
Yeah,
which is so rare in pro wrestling. They're actually amusing. They're actually funny. Doesn't happen very often.
So you guys are actually enjoying SmackDown tonight, because I find this has not been a very good episode tonight.
I mean,
take it easy. I said I like Pretty Deadly, John. The Pretty Deadly parts were good, but that wasn't all of SmackDown. This is still a 3-hour show. If we saw Pretty Deadly wrestle and then Pretty Deadly the musical, maybe we could give this show a higher rating. But so far, it's not been great. Meechin, B-Fab against Chelsea Green and Piper Niven. Meechin and B-Fab beat them. That was whatever. They had that big promo with everybody, with Tiffy Time and Nia Jax and Rhea Ripley and Candice LeRae and Bianca Belair and Naomi and Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. Like, they wheeled out every single wrestler they have in that division, And then they all fought each other, and then they had a match. And Liv Morgan, Nia Jax, and Candice LeRae wound up beating Naomi, Bianca, and Rhea Ripley when Liv rolled up Bianca for the win. Like, all of that was kind of long.
I'll say one positive to that. Like, I didn't like the match. The promo, I nearly turned off SmackDown because I'm like, this is irritating to watch. But there was one moment in the match where I was like, this is actually really good, and I wish more of the match was this. I thought when Bianca and Liv had a bit of a spot together, I'm like, this is flowing well. This doesn't look like as rough as everything else is looking. This looks really good. I wish more of the match was based around this, but that was sadly pretty much the end of the match. But I thought they had a very good sequence of back and forth action with each other.
Mm-hmm.
The rest was rough to watch.
Yeah, all of that was a good chunk of SmackDown, and it wasn't great. So that hurt. I thought Cody's promo at the beginning of the show was pretty basic. Not much there.
No, nothing great. Kevin was okay.
Kevin was really good. Kevin standing up and getting in Matthew McConaughey's face was fantastic. Matthew McConaughey is ringside at SmackDown right now, and Kevin Owens was like yelling at Joe Tessitore, like, why are you interviewing Cody? Why aren't you interviewing me? Michael Cole's not interviewing me either. He's too busy kissing Pat McAfee's ass. Like, Kevin's just throwing shots at people. Cody's kissing The Rock's ass, and then he's looking at Matthew, and he stands up on the announce table. He's looking at Matthew McConaughey, starts yelling at him. What are you going to do about it? And then Jimmy Uso comes out, and he attacks Kevin. Kevin, leaves. But now Jimmy and Kevin are going to have a match, probably the main event of SmackDown tonight. I'm guessing that'll close the show, right?
Pretty good for Kevin. The main event, like 2 weeks in a row. He main evented against Ray last week.
As he should.
Oh, no, he didn't main event, but he had a big match with Ray last week.
Mm-hmm. Kevin's excellent. That match with Cody at the Rumble, the ladder match, could be match of the year.
I mean, it's rough to always say that right away. It'll probably be the match of the night, though, I imagine.
I mean, I'm expecting it to be fantastic. How could they go wrong?
I mean, with ladders, you never know. Something breaks or something.
But
impossible. I guess I missed it, but I guess Damian Priest just won right there.
Yeah, Damian Priest just hit his South of Heaven finisher on Carmelo Hayes for the win in another uneventful match on SmackDown. And here are the Motor City Machine Guns backstage talking to the DIY again with Nick Aldis between them.
I think I see Piper Niven in the back there. Yeah, that's Piper Niven in the back there
Talking
hanging out
somebody.
with...
I think that's the Blair Davenport.
Yeah, it's Blair Davenport.
It is Blair Davenport.
She said they need more security, I guess, or something, right?
Okay, well, there you go. Maybe they're enlisting Blair Davenport. That's in the background of this Motor City Machine Guns DIY promo that I don't even know what the conclusion of. I don't know what they said. Oh, there's an 8-man tag match next Friday. DIY and Pretty Deadly against the Motor City Machine Guns and Los Garza. So are Los Garza baby faces?
I guess by default. I mean, I guess Street Profits are still injured. That's what they said on commentary.
Okay, Street Profits are still injured from some sort of attack. Didn't they return from the attack?
But I think they're just injured now. I guess they actually got legit hurt. So
that's a shame.
They're not around.
Okay. Jimmy Uso will wrestle Carmelo Hayes next Friday. He was supposed to wrestle Carmelo Hayes tonight, but then he decided to save Matthew McConaughey and challenge Kevin Owens instead. Kevin is great. He is great in the ring. He's fantastic on the microphone. His promo with Sami Zayn this week on Raw I thought was really good too. The way he kind of laid everything out for Sami Zayn, like, I believe in you. Because Sami comes out and he's like, I'm going to win the Rumble, and I'm entering the Rumble, and I'm going to win, and I know that there are a lot of big names in the Rumble, like Roman Reigns and CM Punk and, Cody Rhodes, or not Cody Rhodes, but John Cena. Like, he's, listing off the big names that are going to be in the Rumble, and he's like, but I want to win, and I got to do it, and this and that. And then Kevin Owens comes out and he's like, I believe in you. I think you're going to win. And when you win, you can challenge me at WrestleMania. And, how amazing would that be to see us wrestling each other for the WWE Championship in the main event of WrestleMania? And he cuts this kind of heartfelt promo to Sammy, kind of a pep talk to Sammy, like, yeah, let's do it. Because Kevin's like, you have to walk out of the Rumble as the Rumble winner, and I have to walk out of the Rumble as WWE Champion. And, it's possible. This is a match that could happen. Kevin could beat Cody at the Rumble and walk out WWE Champion, and Sammy could win the Royal Rumble. And Kevin also said, he said something about, like, as long as we have each other's backs, as long as we kind of look out for each other, kind of saying to Sammy, like, hey, in my match with Cody, if the ladder is down and you happen to come and help me up or whatever, if you, if Sammy kind of helps Kevin, he's like, if you make sure that happens for me, I'll make sure that you walk out with the Rumble. Like, imagine the Royal Rumble where Sammy comes out and helps Kevin beat Cody. The crowd would go, whoa, the crowd would go nuts.
Kevin comes out during the Rumble match and, like, holds John Cena's arm, and then Sammy comes behind and dumps Cena over the ropes.
Yeah, and then helps Sammy win, and then, they wrestle each other at Mania.
They shake hands in the middle of the ring.
They shake hands, and it's like, all right.
Let's wrestle.
It would be a weird way to build a match to WrestleMania, though. These two guys kind of pull a fast one on all of the WWE, heel out to the max, and then wrestle each other at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of a weird
friendly competition.
Unless they do a thing where they do a swerve where it's like Kevin and Sammy versus Cody and Roman night 1 of WrestleMania, and then night 2 the winner faces some sort of
threat.
They could pull something like that. But just the fact that we're talking about that possibility means that Kevin's promo on Raw with Sammy too, like that piece of television, Netflix, whatever you call it, the content worked.
Yes.
It worked, and it made you think. I thought it was very effective. Very effective. It was not a scenario that I thought was possible. I still don't really think Sammy's going to win the Royal Rumble, but after that promo, I think that you can't rule him out.
And Kevin has so much momentum right now. Like, Cody's promo tonight really showed he's kind of stalled out a bit.
Yeah.
He's just kind of like, hey, I'm the champion. I got this belt, and wait until Mania, I guess. I don't know.
It feels like Cody is there because...
There's Michelle McCool.
Yeah, there is Michelle McCool.
I did not recognize her.
And right next to her is Undertaker's daughter and her daughter with Undertaker.
Oh, Jancy and Fancy.
And there's Mark Henry. I guess not in AEW anymore.
But Kevin has so much momentum. He's been building it so steadily that, like, he should get the title going. Like,
it would be nice, but I don't see it happening.
And, like, he's been put in this position so many times that, like, he should.
It feels like Kevin is like the guy with so much momentum, and he's like more exciting to watch right now. And Cody's just the guy in the spot because they decided he's the guy in the spot.
Yeah, he's become Roman Reigns.
And it's just kind of very flat and same all the time for Cody. And his stories haven't been that compelling in a while.
He's finished his story. Now he's got no stories to tell.
Yeah, and it's like, well, what does he do at WrestleMania?
Wrestles John Cena?
Beats John Cena or loses to Cena? Like, do we need that? Wouldn't you rather Kevin Owens versus John Cena?
I would. It's Kevin Owens' first feud in like the main roster.
There's a big story there. Kevin Owens defending WWE Championship against John Cena. Give Cody something else to do.
Like, I get you guys 100%. Like, I would love to see Kevin Owens as the champion going WrestleMania. I just don't think it's going to happen. I think Cody is the guy. They're going to keep running with it. Even if you feel Cody's kind of stale, I think they're going to have him like this. And as much as you don't like Cody and John Cena, they still think that is a big match. So it's going to happen, I think.
I agree.
It is a big match.
It is big. It's big like name value and everything, but as far as entertainment, as far as the story too, like man, the Kevin Owens John Cena story dates back what, over a decade?
Yeah, at this point.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with you. Again, like I think that was one of Cena's last great matches, really, if you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Money in the Bank.
And I would trust Kevin to have a better match with John Cena than Cody would.
Like, again, in terms of match quality, sure, but in terms of like hype, I think Cody, that would sell it more, because Cody's like the new John Cena, right? Against like, John Cena. So I think that in itself, just off hype alone, would sell the match.
Do you want John Cena's big WrestleMania match to be a split crowd? Babyface on babyface? Or do you want to give him a legit heel to go up against? Kevin Owens is a heel. He's getting booed out of the arena.
Well, this is why I think him and Gunther, to me, that's the match for Cena, but it seems like Cody's the bigger match, and it kind of makes sense too, where it's like, if Cena's going to beat the record, he should get the main title, not the secondary title.
I honestly think, John, and this is a big prediction, okay? And take note of this, because this is big.
We're noting it.
Hot take.
This
is a hot take, Dave. A hot take, Dave. Okay? WrestleMania, if they do Cena versus Cody, Cody will turn heel in that match. The crowd will turn him heel. Because we are not the only ones feeling this way about Cody Rhodes. We are not the only ones kind of going, Cody's been a little eh. And I think most of the crowd will be behind John Cena, wanting to see Cena win, and they'll be booing Cody. It'll be like a Rock Hogan thing, where you think, oh, this is a passing of the torch. The fans are going to want the younger guy to win, but the fans are going to go, no, we want the old guy to have one more run. We want to give him one more win.
Yes, that's a good comparison.
And I think that's what's going to happen. The WWE went into Rock Hogan thinking Rock was the babyface, Hogan was the heel, and in that match, the crowd switched them, and they had to go with it. And I think it's going to be the same thing with Cody and Cena, which would be magical and really cool and everything, but I don't think it's going to be what the WWE intends, and I'm not sure they want to turn one of their biggest baby faces heel at that time off of John Cena. But I think it's going to happen. I think most of the crowd will be cheering Cena, and I think Cody's going to get booed out of the building.
In Vegas. You think so?
Yeah. People are going to travel for this, man. It's going to be 80% British.
I really think Cody is well beloved. Like, I think it's going to be very difficult to do. I think they're both quite beloved, so I see it being very split. And
the build, though. The build, I think, is going to expose some things. Cena's going to cut some promos. Cody's going to be a little and people are going to turn. Watch. Don't you see that happening?
Yeah.
You see that, right?
Mm-hmm. Cody's promos, his story's going to be like, I love you, John. I respect you. And we're going to have this great match. And
Cena's going to be like,
I'm fighting for my career.
I need to do it one last time. I need to do it.
I'm John Cena.
And it's like, who do you root for in that situation? The young guy who's like, I really respect you, and I want to beat you to, add it to my legacy. I have to beat you to show that I can. Or do you want to see the old guy come back and be like, I got to do it to prove I can still go and one last time and one last title run? Like, yeah, you root for the old guy. Who wouldn't? He's the underdog. Cena's the underdog in that match. They're going to boo Cody. And I know, John, it's hard for you to fathom because you hate John Cena so much. But, I'm telling you, the vibe is going to be very pro-Cena.
I don't doubt it. Like, Cena has his followers, but, you remember his last couple of matches. It's really difficult for him to get through matches. Like, you even said the last time we saw him wrestle, him against Theory, you kind of hoped that was his last match. So, Don't expect him to be Big Match John ever again, I think, at this point.
I like the way he ran those ropes when he came back there, Johnny. Come on. He was moving well. We'll see. Leor in the chat. Leor, a member of the team over at joined.ringsidereport.net. Thank you for supporting Leor. He says a ladder match is a good way for Cody to lose without getting pinned. Good point.
That's true.
It's good to believe.
It is good to believe.
You gotta
I'd love to believe.
Antoinette, also a member. What's up, Antoinette? Antoinette says Sammy screws Kevin, then WrestleMania against each other.
Yeah,
Maybe.
I could see that, yeah.
And Angelo says, I like the jersey behind you, Johnny.
That's a great jersey. I'll be wearing that Thursday when I go to the hockey game Thursday.
Lane?
Line.
Lonnie, yeah.
He's Finnish.
Lonnie? Or
Yeah.
Lane?
Line.
Line?
Yeah.
Looks like Lane to me.
He's Finnish.
He's
He's
Finnish,
Finnish.
so it's pronounced Line.
Yeah.
Oh, I
correct.
think I was hearing it. Yeah. He's really good, right?
Yeah, he's pretty good.
John, he's
They're
like
all
the new
good.
hot superstar of the Canadians, and you got his
They're
jersey
all-
already? Look at
they're
you.
all
He was
good.
pretty fast.
Well, actually, because they were, it was during the Boxing Day sale, right?
Oh.
That they had, so I got a nice discount. But everything took forever because, as you know, Canada Post bailed on us. So this actually only came in recently.
Yeah. My dad was just talking to me about this guy yesterday, saying he's like really good at hockey, right?
Yeah.
He's like turned the Canadians around. They're good now.
They're in the
We're all
playoff
right,
spot,
you
I
know.
think.
We're in the hunt. We're not in a playoff spot, but we're in a hunt right
Cool.
now, so it's good. See what happens.
Well, there you go. Patrick
Patrick will be
Deneau,
there, too.
member of the
Cool.
team over at
Let's meet up.
membership.ringsidereport.net. He says we'll be there next Thursday as well. Go Habs, go.
I'm in section 429.
Cool.
Who are they playing?
They're playing the Wild, Minnesota.
Wild. It's going to be a wild time.
Kaprizov.
Well, go Habs. I hope they do well for you, Johnny. I know my dad likes the Canadians. You like the Canadians, so I root for them even though I don't watch them. I mean, I don't actively root for them, but it's like, yeah, it's good if they win, I guess.
Yeah. It's got it's where we live, Montreal.
Yeah, it's nice. I mean, I'd rather they win so that people are pleased than they lose so that people are angry. Although when they win, they tend to riot. So it's like, do you want them to win? I don't know. It's hard to tell. You know what I mean? It's like people, when they're angry because they lose, it's like you don't hear from them. When they totally win, they fully riot in the streets, which sucks. It's not good. You shouldn't be rioting, guys. Chill, hockey fans.
I remember like SmackDown, like 2001, like the
It's like,
what
wow.
chants in the Metro, like it was insane. Like it would go on for hours almost. You just hear it, just the whole what, like because what was crazy back then, right? So
Yeah,
nonstop.
that's not a riot though.
No, it's just it was
But
over.
it was so loud.
We'd
It was-
also
it
woo.
Yeah,
was-
but John,
we'd also woo a lot.
You know the
too.
difference between that and a riot, right?
of course,
Yeah.
but like
You don't
it was
overturn
kind of
a police
annoying.
car
Though.
shouting,
Like, I
"What?"
get why people
There's no
get
fires.
upset by it.
There's no pro wrestling riots in Montreal. No.
Yeah, like there wasn't after the screw job, so like where would there be one?
Yeah, there should have been. There could have been.
I think we're just confused.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, I was 7.
yeah.
I think Sean complained that he got hit with a paper airplane, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh,
he got mad about that.
Sean Wood complained. He lost his smile again after that. Poor
Is
Sean.
that why his
Michaels.
eyes like that?
You
He's
got to
missed
support
his
the
eye.
team. That's right. I see it in the chat. Got to support the team.
That's the Devils.
The Devils. We're the Devils.
Here comes Mr. Montreal KO coming out right here.
He's got a Naomi T-shirt.
Why is he wearing a Naomi T-shirt to come out for this match?
I don't know, but I love that. I love this gimmick. of just
Oh,
wearing
I know,
other
because he's
people-
wrestling Jimmy Uso.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah,
It's pretty fantastic.
It's fantastic.
It's good actually. Yeah,
I love that gimmick of just wearing like these antagonizing shirts.
Oh my goodness. A kid just gave Kevin a pen to sign something. He grabbed
threw it
the
away.
pen and then tossed it away.
Yeah. I don't know what they were expecting.
Oh, Kevin's
it's always great to mess with kids. I sent that to you, Dave, right before the show started. That one of the parents were happy that I messed with his kids. So
great. Yeah.
it's always great when you bring that kind of joy to people's life.
Yeah.
Mess with kids.
Do you guys
Great.
think?
Johnny's a great heel.
Do you guys think Matthew McConaughey gets involved in the match? Like he jumps over the barrier?
You should.
It would be pretty cool. Matthew McConaughey is ringside for SmackDown. Shane Gillis, great comedian, also ringside for SmackDown. I love Shane Gillis.
What's his name?
Tony
Buffy
Hinchcliffe
2 or
is with him
something?
too.
Yeah.
Is he going? Oh, I thought he was going
Oh,
right
Kevin
after.
Owens showing the belt right at McConaughey, getting in McConaughey's face. Take that, Matthew
he's-
McConaughey.
He's right there. I mean,
What are you going to
something's
do to
gotta
Kevin
happen.
Owens' brother?
He's way too close for nothing to happen.
Oh, it's so good.
I want to say I was like running through like a list in my head, like after we saw him. I think Matthew McConaughey is the first best like acting Oscar recipient to appear on WWE TV.
Big deal.
You know, I think like Sylvester Stallone won for like maybe directing Rocky or producing Rocky, but
Still,
other
the
than
guy is a major
Yeah.
star, and he's just helping out an angle for a random Friday night SmackDown in Austin, Texas. It's pretty cool. You know,
I think he brought his kid too, right? It looked like.
possibly.
he's from Austin.
But it's just great to have, this type of star
Yeah, it's not like like someone
ringside
from the
for
football
SmackDown.
team.
This isn't WrestleMania. This isn't, And look at
Oh, he's
them.
going right in
They're-
front of him again.
Yeah, they're going right in front of him, throwing Kevin into the barricade in front of the stars there ringside. It's great.
Mainstream.
Mainstream. WWE is so big. It's so mainstream. You're seeing big celebrities there, part of the angles, just part of the show.
Yeah, like he doesn't look like he's fulfilling a promotional appearance, you know?
No, he's just there because he wants to be.
Yeah.
Because it's fun. Because it's a place to be. AEW is not competing. No wrestling company on the planet is competing
No.
with WWE in this type of arena. It's really big time, and it's just getting bigger and bigger. It's getting more and more mainstream and more accepted and more Hollywood with the with the purchase of the company. It's just so Hollywood now. It's so big. I like that we're seeing all these people like performing in front of these major stars. The eyeballs on these wrestlers now. It's great. The money that's going to come into pro wrestlers and pro wrestling, because a lot of these wrestlers, they do reinvest in wrestling. They open wrestling schools, and they're going to have some good money to do it. And then a lot of them won't have to go to conventions and stuff and keep traveling and breaking their backs, signing autographs, because they'll just have a ton of money to retire on. It's nice to see the progression of the WWE to this point where these guys can make some really serious money and, live a comfortable life when they retire. You hope, for the most part, anyways.
It's just sad because I saw the tickets for WrestleMania went on sale. And I'm like, well, I don't think I'm ever probably going to WrestleMania because that's just way too expensive, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, that is an issue that bothers me with the ticket prices for pro wrestling at this point, especially for the big events. It's like they're pricing it out of the range of possibility for so many fans. They're really making it a thing for just the
1%.
the ultra rich to
Yeah,
go
like,
to.
wrestling
It's
is
crazy.
famously known as being populist. Anyone can go. That's the part of the
But
whole
because
appeal.
it's becoming so big and so mainstream, they're kind of charging ridiculous prices for tickets. And I don't know. I think they're pricing out the hardcore fans. We'll see how that evolves. I don't know if it'll last. I don't think it can.
Hey, we got the largest gate for WrestleMania.
This is WWE's hot right now, and it's doing well and everything. But it goes up and down. And AEW, I wonder what they're charging for their tickets. I know they're doing smaller arenas, but they can't be charging close to what WWE's charging these days.
Hopefully we'll get a show sometime soon. We'll be able to see that. But I don't know if you guys have seen that. The Rumble, I think they broke the attendance record for Rumble ever this year. It's over 60,000 for the Rumble.
Well, they're in a football stadium.
Yeah. and I think next year's in Saudi Arabia. So I would say, I think Sammy has a better chance next year of winning the Rumble.
Maybe. Well, they could charge whatever they want in Saudi Arabia. I don't care.
Yeah.
They could make them pay through their nose.
Yeah, well, that's it. Saudi Arabia is a different situation. But just putting it there, it's like, well, okay. There's a lot of people that won't be going there, and we'll see. Sean in the chat says, I was going to take the kids to Raw, and the prices were crazy. Yeah. Yeah, the ticket prices are obscene for WWE now. They have skyrocketed to the point where you go, huh. It's funny, you always talk about, like, I remember my whole life, you hear people talk about, well, to take a family of four to something, and a family of four to afford grocery, and then this and that, and I'm like, oh, yeah. And now, I am the father of a family of four, and I'm like, oh, shit. Yeah, eh? What the hell? Yeah. It's like, what's going on here? What's the deal? It's so weird. It's so weird to be in this position, to be like the dad of the family of four. You're like, oh, yeah. To take my kids to a movie, it's like $150. Like, what the hell's going on here? It's like, what's going on?
You want snacks? Oh, no.
Yeah, it's like, it's crazy.
You want the toys on top of the snacks?
Yeah. Like, you never thought about it as a kid, but now growing up, you're just like, my God, everything is crazy.
What's a bit
and my
cheaper?
My kids keep getting older and bigger. That's the thing.
They need new clothes.
And they keep eating more and more. And, like, they go from kids' meals to kids' meals plus a little more to, like, an adult-sized meal. And then all of a sudden they're eating more than you. And
no way.
They're taking your food.
Adult-sized meal?
Well, I mean, not quite. But you know what I'm saying? Like, they're just sometimes they eat more than me.
Yeah.
I mean, and they're only 7 and 2. It's crazy. Anyways, that's my problem. Merch. That's my problem. That's not. Yeah,
they grow.
I just bought tickets for I just bought 4 tickets to see the Yankees. Okay, so good seats too.
Well, that's in Toronto though, right? Not in New York.
Yeah, no, Toronto, because American dollar is just crazy.
Well, again, you're being smart at least with that. I mean, that's good.
Canada Day.
Nice. That'll be fun.
Canada Day. Yankees.
Red jerseys.
Jays. I'll be there.
Be there in my jersey. Pinstripes.
Yeah, I think I'm going to get a gray New York for that one, baby.
What number?
Where the road. What number do you think?
You have a judge jersey? Oh, so you're going to judge?
Gots to be 99, baby.
What about 27? G?
Playoff G.
45? Garrett.
I do love some Cole.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, we can't talk about the
also
Yankees.
Pedro's number.
This is going to devolve into just pure Yankees because I love them so much.
What's Goldschmidt?
Kevin
44?
Owens and Kevin Owens and Jimmy Uso still in the ring tonight. It's the main event of SmackDown. Should be wrapping up pretty soon here on the SmackDown. Anything on Raw, John? I mean, CM Punk did a promo like in the crowd with Jackie Redmond saying basically nothing. Raw was like already we're at the 3rd Raw of the Netflix era, and I feel like we're back to normal. It's just so uneventful. They did nothing.
I mean, it's a huge drop because you lost all the stars like right away. But next week we're getting Cody, right? Cody's coming back to Raw next week. I know you're a big Cody fan, but they're trying to add star power again. I think that was the thing. They tried to show the rest of the Raw roster, and it's not great, as you saw. But they're trying, I guess, to show everyone else. I didn't mind the main event. I thought Seth and Drew McIntyre was a fine match. Main event the show.
It was okay, but it's kind of like, all right, haven't we been here a million times before?
We have. I wouldn't say it was anything like unbelievable, groundbreaking. I mean, it falls in line with what we've kind of seen tonight, too. I would say Raw was kind of on par with SmackDown tonight.
Yep. They're not progressing. Everything's kind of set, and we're just waiting. Seth beat Drew in the main event of Raw. Watching Raw on Netflix is annoying, too, because they keep going to these fake commercial breaks during the matches. Can they stop? Like, they fade to black and then
Yeah.
come right back, and we've just missed a few seconds of the match. We haven't gone to commercial. Nothing's happened. Just some seconds of the match have gone by. What is that? It's on Netflix. They're not breaking for commercial anywhere. I understand when they do that here when we're watching on Netflix because it's on the USA Network in the States, so they do have commercial breaks. But why is it happening on Netflix? Because during the Bayley-Nia Jax match, I felt like they faded to black like 6 times. It was weird. Do you know why?
They fixed on SmackDown. I don't know if you noticed that. Like it did fade sometimes, but not all the time. I don't know
Yeah.
if you caught that. Like, so that was weird. Maybe again, it's a work in progress here with them doing that whole switch thing. They don't really know how to do it correctly or without it losing all sound or half sound. So it's still a work in progress here. They're still working out the kinks, I think. We have a new ring mat too, by the way.
He's favoring a shoulder, like he's not using one of his shoulders.
I don't know.
He's like standing.
I think he's just selling.
He's just selling? Did like one-armed Samoan drop?
Yeah, you just sell.
Oh, yeah, it's fine. Big Jim.
You say they
Get me all
changed the ring
worried.
mat. They have a blue ring mat with a one ad in the middle for Angry Orchard Hard something cider,
Yeah.
whatever that is.
Boozy apple drink.
It's great. Great. Jason Pete, member of the team in the chat, says Netflix Raw needs to be 2 hours max. I agree. The 2.5 hours, it's like, all right, guys, I think we're good in just 2 hours. We really didn't accomplish much with that extra half hour. We could have cut some stuff. We didn't need to see Pure Fusion Collective. We didn't, Pete Dunne and Penta was okay.
Disappointing, really, because like I was expecting that to be really good. They hyped that as like a great indie match, and then I saw it. I'm like, this wasn't as good as Gable and Penta from the week prior. So I'm like,
Yeah.
kind of disappointed.
Yeah, I thought Gable was a better opponent. And that was basically Raw. Like, they did nothing on that show.
And Ray and Kofi, that was also like they hyped that match up for like weeks. That was going to happen.
Yep.
And that was very disappointing of a match. Like they could definitely do better. I don't know what that power bomb Ray almost killed Ray. Like what happened there?
I don't know.
It was an off night, I think, for a lot of guys. It looked like
It was not a good show. It was not a good show. SmackDown has not been a good show. WWE is just kind of... And then tomorrow night, they got Saturday night's main event, which just feels like more of the same.
Well, I felt Saturday night's main event was more like wrestling heavy. So hopefully that's what's going to happen. I really enjoyed the first episode back of Saturday night's main event. So I'm hoping more of the same. However, the card isn't as good. I don't know if you want to run down the card, but it's not as good as it was last time.
They need something to happen on this show.
Yeah,
Like,
I agree.
I feel like we've gone so long in WWE without anything actually happening. Like a title change or like a big moment where it's like, oh, the direction of this has shifted a bit. I feel like the direction for everything has been the same forever. Like Cody's direction has basically been the same. Where's Roman been? Like you say, oh, the stars and Cody and Roman was on the Raw on Netflix. He beat Solo. He got the Oofalafa, and then he disappeared.
It's just Rumble. Mystique.
It's just, and he didn't even announce that he was in the Rumble. Heyman did it. Where's Roman?
He said January 27th. No, that he's back on that date. No.
Oh, on Raw in Atlanta? Is that it? So Monday.
I think that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hotlanta.
So he gets 3 weeks off, and then he comes back for some reason. He's off.
And I think we're getting the full-time appearance, first-time full-time appearance of Logan Paul, no? And they hyped that as well?
Is Logan Paul, is that on Raw?
Yeah. It's supposed to be on Raw.
Yeah. Well,
Oh,
okay.
Papa Powerbomb, that's probably it.
Whoa.
It was.
hits the pop-up powerbomb on Jimmy, and then pins him. Didn't even need the stunner. No stunner. All right, so Roman will be there Monday. Well, they're stacking everybody up on Monday in Atlanta because
go home.
The Rumble is that week, right? Rumble's next week. So they're getting everybody ready.
Oh, I think Kevin's going for the package here.
Is Randy Orton going to be in the Rumble?
I hope so.
I hope so.
Yeah, he should be, right?
Need some Randy Cena.
Where's Randy at?
Maybe we'll see him tomorrow.
So Kevin beats Jimmy Uso. He was about to put him through the table with a pile driver, but Cody comes out to stop him, and now Cody and Kevin are brawling. They have a contract signing tomorrow night at Saturday night's main event that's going to be moderated by the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels.
His hometown.
San Antonio, Texas.
If you want something to happen, I think Kevin giving a pile driver to Shawn, that would get people talking.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yes. I'm hoping for just like a scathing promo about how, Brett was the best.
How Brett was better, how Shawn's a piece of trash.
Brett invented the ladder match.
How Shawn also turns on his friends just like Cody. How he's a snake just like Cody, not to be trusted. I think that would be great if Kevin
tries to paint himself like a good guy, but we
what
know
the
he's
heck?
not
They
a
just
good
fade to
guy.
black.
If
What the heck
Kevin
was
just
that?
buried Shawn and compared him to Cody, I think that'd be fantastic. Kevin and Cody just brawl and SmackDown ended, right?
Like he threw him in the ring and they just ended it. What the heck was that?
Yeah. Well,
That was
they
weird.
had to cut it off because they're on USA Network, I guess.
That's probably it. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's too bad.
Great.
A rerun of Suits.
So, yeah, it would be nice if Kevin just ran down Shawn Michaels on the promo tomorrow, but other than that, I'm not expecting much.
No.
Out of that, the match itself is what I want to see. The ladder match at the Rumble, Kevin, Cody. I'm expecting Cody to win. I'd love to see Kevin win. I think it'd be real interesting. It would shake things up for WrestleMania. That would be a moment where you go, ooh, this is different. This is something else. Now, what's Kevin going to do at Mania? What's Cody going to do? What's going to happen,
Yeah, because Cody is emblematic of WWE, just going through the motions, waiting for, WrestleMania. Like, the whole company is the Cody storyline of just, kind of sit. So, we need Kevin, to shake things up a bit there, pal.
That's right. He does have ruthless aggression.
And that did used to happen sometimes back in the day. Like, someone would, a title change after the Rumble.
Yeah.
Or in February, like Eddie Guerrero won the belt at No Way Out in February, and then went to Rumble. And no one was like, "Oh, this is ridiculous," it's fine,
Yeah, I think it's fun sometimes to,
Kurt Angle was like the champion.
I feel like going into January with the same champions that you're gonna have set going into the WrestleMania is kind of like. It's a long time to hold this, and it feels like they're just holding it to hold it so that at Mania they could possibly lose it. It's like, well, why? Why do we just have to hold it to hold it? It's not holding it for any particular reason, and in the meantime, we just kind of make everybody else feel like filler because they're not real threats. Like Gunther, right? He's the world champion. He's not losing to Jey Uso at Saturday night's main event. And then he's not even going to defend it at the Royal Rumble. So Gunther's probably going into WrestleMania as the world champion, and that's kind of boring. It doesn't really do the Gunther character any favors. It doesn't do the world title any favors, and it doesn't really do the match at Mania any favors.
Well, you don't know who he's facing yet. I think it'd be great to see him against Punk. I think that'd be a great WrestleMania match for him if they do that.
Yeah, it'd be fun. But okay, so you build it up for what? Punk to beat Gunther at WrestleMania. So Gunther's just been, he hasn't had a title reign. He's just been holding the belt, waiting to lose at WrestleMania. He hasn't had any meaningful feuds. He hasn't done anything of worth. He's just been holding it to lose at Mania. Right?
Yeah.
No?
Well, again, there's so many things that could happen between now and WrestleMania. It's possible he might have to defend the title inside the Elimination Chamber.
Yeah.
Very possible that could happen. And you're saying Punk's going to beat him. Who's saying Punk's going to win? Punk doesn't have to win the title. He just wants to be in the main event. He doesn't have to win the title. You don't think Phil wants that? Like,
oh, no. Phil doesn't want to win all the time. Sure. It's not all about Phil. It's not. It's never just about CM Punk. It's about making the business better, right, John?
that's what he says, right?
That's what he says. At this point, anybody still believing that's been paying attention? You're the biggest mark going. I mean, come on. This guy is going to politic his way into being the night one of a buy one, get one, two. Fucking, he is going to become the meme. That promo, he's going to get buried with that promo when he's the night one main event. Good. He came back to the WWE. Why? So he could. What does Punk want? What is Punk crying about? He wants to main event WrestleMania. He wants to close the show. It's not enough to make money and have a great career and be a top star. No. I want to be the one to go on last. I have to go on last. I'm going to throw a big tantrum about going on last. A lot of people never went on last. A lot of people did go on last. Jericho went on last. So? A lot of people have gone on.
Bam Bam.
Yeah, Bam Bam and Lawrence Taylor went on last. So? Just because you go on last doesn't make you the man. Punk could go on last. Doesn't make him Roman Reigns. Doesn't make him Cody Rhodes. Doesn't make him Stone Cold. Doesn't make him The Rock. Just because you go on last, go on last every single year. Try that. And I know CM Punk in his promo this week said that he would throw everybody over the top rope, even Hulk Hogan, so he could bury Hulkamania once and for all. Well, brother, he went on last way more than you ever will. And when he went on last, it meant something because the whole company was actually about him. And there was only one night. And the whole show was actually about him.
That's right, brother.
Brother. Punk. So, all this selfish, baby, self-righteous bullshit from this guy. And you're going to tell me that he's not going to politic his way into beating Gunther at WrestleMania? Come on, dude. And I'm a fan. I like CM Punk. As a wrestler, as a sports entertainer, he's fantastic. One of the greatest to ever do it. But, come on, the ego in this guy, the politicking of this guy, the character of this guy, over the years, you go, really, dude? I don't have a ton of respect for him. I like him, but I don't respect him. Kind of like Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
How about that, CM Punk? Kind of feel the way about Punk as I do about Hogan. I like Hogan. I don't respect Hogan as a person. I like as a man. I don't respect Hogan as a man. I don't respect CM Punk as a man. I like them, though, as wrestlers. A lot. So I'll forgive a lot of their bullshit and their nonsense and their lies and their self-aggrandizing and their, politicking to keep themselves on top and everybody else down around them. Look at Punk's AEW run. Couldn't have shot himself to the top fast enough. Beaten everybody on the way. Didn't stick around long enough to pay the favor back. Called himself the real world champion leaving. Is that helping the business? Is that helping the younger generation going forward, or that's just putting yourself over? He's not been good for the business. He's been good for his business. Like, I like him. He's fun to watch, but come on, man. And I've lost faith in him. I've lost respect for him over the years. He was at one time like the voice of the voiceless. Like when he cut that pipe bomb promo on John Cena, it was like, ooh, okay, this is a guy.
And
this is a guy to
years.
This is a guy to listen to pay attention to.
Next 2-3 years.
But now he's become a caricature of his former self. You know what I mean?
He's a legacy act.
Yeah.
He's running on the old hits.
Yeah. And there's no substance behind it. You see through the bullshit. Just like The Rock said, real men see through bullshit.
And there's The Rock's one to talk about,
Lior says, so happy. The Rock is interesting, though. He's a different character.
Yeah.
Lior says, so happy to hear Dave finally talk shit about CM Punk. LOL, it's about time.
You've talked shit about Punk before.
Yeah. Patrick Deneau says, was a huge CM Punk fan until he came back and sucked. He ain't what he used to be, and right now Hangman Adam Page is killing it. And that's another thing. When I watch Punk, I go, yeah, he's cool. When I watch Hangman, I go, fuck yeah, Hangman. Cowboy shit, get him. Like, Hangman is a bad motherfucker in AEW. He is cool as hell. Hangman is electric right now. I'm such a Hangman fan. So, the fact that he's kind of public enemy number one in CM Punk world makes me go, yeah, well, I like Hangman. Doesn't make me like Punk any less, though. I mean, but, Punk hating Hangman so much and kind of still saying things about Hangman, when he can, dropping little subtle jabs without saying his subliminal jab. It's like, come on, dude. You're still talking about Hangman? Because he's out there killing it. And, like Johnny, you were just telling me before the show how much you enjoyed Hangman and Christopher Daniels on Collision last week. Fantastic, bloody, brutal match. Hangman is on another level right now. He's in his prime. Punk's not in his prime anymore. It is what it is. But Punk still wants to be the champion and beat guys that are in their prime, like Gunther. And if he wrestles Gunther, if he gets that match and they main event night one, he's going to beat him. Bet.
Well, we'll see if that match even, we're speculating what that match might possibly be. It might be just Punk versus Roman Reigns, no title. That could also happen.
Battle for Paul Heyman. Heyman on a pole match?
Heyman on a pole. Put him on a pole. Make him dance.
Maybe on a forklift.
Like pole dance?
Pole might
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't think he's got the upper body strength.
The winner gets a pole dance from Paul Heyman. He's on a pole, and then after the match, they hit the music, the Rikishi music.
Ladies and gentlemen.
And then, Paul Heyman strips for the winner in the middle of the ring.
That's a Vince idea.
Yeah.
That's right, Paul. You're getting the radio strip.
Roman's going to love it. Probably not. But, maybe for the love of Paul Heyman, they do some sort of match. Roman versus Punk. It's possible.
Heyman. The Hesh of wrestling.
And I think that would be one where Punk couldn't politic his way into a win. I think there he'd face a roadblock and, and that's probably another strike against that match even happening because Punk could see moves ahead and he knows, match non-title against Roman, maybe that main event's night one, maybe not. Probably doesn't main event night two. WWE title probably main event's night two. And a match with Roman straight up, even if it does main event night one, Punk's not winning. So I don't think Punk would put himself in that position. Punk wants to win the Rumble. If Punk had his way, he'd win the Rumble. Main event night 2 of WrestleMania against Cody and beat Cody.
Not Cena?
No, he would face Cody.
Win the Rumble, yeah.
Yeah. Punk, if Punk had his way, Like, if you ask Punk how he thinks it should go, I bet anything that he would say, win the Rumble, face Cody, night 2, I beat Cody. Like, do you doubt in any way that would be Punk's move if he could? And he's probably even pushing for it. I don't know if he is, because I think that even he may recognize how outrageous that would be, that they would never go for it. But I feel
he wants
like
to be taken seriously.
Yeah, like if he wants to be taken seriously, he's gonna go, I'm gonna give the kid Gunther a good match, and we'll see about the finish. And then as it gets closer, he's like, I think I should beat him, and then maybe we'll do a rematch, and then he's gonna win. And that's how he's gonna do it, because that's how he operates.
Can we get Living Color to perform?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I think no matter what happens, I think in the end, it's the final two. It's Punk and Cena. Those are the two favorites, right? So it's going to come down to those two. I think Cena's going to win, but it's going to be close like that, I think.
I'd like to see Cena win. I wouldn't mind seeing Punk win either. Punk's never won one. Cena's won it,
Cena's won twice.
Yeah. It would be nice for Punk to get it, but it's like, does Punk need a Royal Rumble win in his career? He could just end his wrestling career without winning a Rumble. He doesn't need to.
It's not bad. It's not bad that he wins it. I mean, he's super over right now. It kind of makes a lot of sense, the way they're building him up right now.
It's not like he needs to, because again, and I don't want to diminish Punk or anything, but historically, he's not in the lineage of the champions. Like, as much as he wants to be one of the guys, he's never been the chosen one. His run, his era was short, and it was against the grain of the WWE, and it was just kind of forced upon them by the fans, and they went with it, but they didn't want it.
Cena was always booked ahead of him in against John Laurinaitis and Big Show and stuff.
Exactly.
On pay-per-views. It was always Punk the second to last match, and then Cena.
Punk existed during the John Cena era. He had a run during the John Cena era, but he only existed in Cena's orbit. Mm-hmm. And now it's the Roman Reigns era, and everybody is kind of... And is it shifting towards a Roman Cody era? I don't know. I think it's still the Roman era, because when you see Roman and Cody together, Roman's the bigger star.
Yeah.
Even though Cody's a champ, Roman is still the top babyface. When they're both there, it's Roman.
OTC.
He's the OTC. The crowd is for Roman.
I saw this video of Sheamus and Drew McIntyre surprising kids watching pro wrestling. There's wrestling clubs at schools in America where kids just watch wrestling. And
cool.
As an after school thing.
Nice.
So they surprise it. And as they're walking down the hall, they just hear chants of OTC, OTC. And Drew is like, oh my God, they're cheering for Roman. He hasn't been around for months, and they're cheering for him.
Yo.
I like him, but oh man,
they love him.
Yeah,
kids love Roman. Everybody loves Roman. Roman is so over right now. It's crazy. He's by far the top babyface in WWE. He's by far the top guy.
After the first Raw on Netflix, there was a lot of social media engagement of people being like, "Oh, who's Roman Reigns? This guy's sexy." Where's this guy been? Oh my God, this is my new favorite thing to watch.
What do you mean, where's he been? He's your tribal chief.
That's people just didn't watch wrestling.
Yeah.
Oh my God, who's this guy?
Yeah.
They're watching Bridgerton or whatever on Netflix. Their steamy stuff.
What the hell is Bridgerton?
A sexy British show.
Sexy British.
So people watch Roman Reigns. I'm like, oh, okay.
Sounds good. Maybe I should watch Bridgerton.
I don't know.
All right.
I'm not watching. I'm just using a shorthand.
I could get it. The sexy British. All right. Well, what else is on Saturday night's main event? Braun Breaker versus Sheamus for the Intercontinental title. Is this a time when Sheamus finally takes it? I hope so, because they need to do something on this show. Give me a title change. Give me a reason to watch.
Fella.
When this show's over, let me say at least oh well, Sheamus won. That was cool. Give me something.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, last Saturday night's main event, all the babyfaces won all their matches, right? So, I mean, if they continue with that pattern, it could very well happen. But I think this time around, that won't happen.
Well, Gunther is defending the world title against Jey Uso. Jey Uso is a babyface. He's not winning the world title.
Well, also, I think Gunther defended last time too, right? Didn't he? So last night's match. So he didn't. He won that one. Wasn't it not a triple threat? Well,
Well,
may have pinned
Gunther's
the
not a
heel,
babyface, John. Didn't you say all the babyfaces won last time?
exactly. But he pinned a heel though, so
Okay.
because he pinned Finn, so
Right. Finn and Priest. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Gunther will beat Jay. Could Sheamus beat Braun?
I'm thinking Braun retains.
I'm gonna go with Sheamus winning. I'm hopeful.
I'd like to see Sheamus win, but I'm going to say Braun retains. He's already lost the belt once before, kind of, I think. This is probably a long run for him.
Braun Breaker wrestling, Braun Strowman wrestling. There's 2 guys named Braun. There's 4 matches. 2 of them have Braun guys in them.
And if Bronson
No
Reed
different,
weren't
man.
injured, he'd probably be on the card, too.
Exactly. Braun Strowman wrestling Jacob Fatu. I think Jacob Fatu is probably going to win with help from the Solo friends. Well, I guess Solo's not around anymore. Solo kind of walked out on them in shame. And now Jacob and Tommy Tonga and Tonga Loa are their own thing for the time being, I guess. The hell is that?
Well, I think they're just giving a huge push now to Jacob Fatu, which I don't think is a bad thing. We kind of saw it tonight on SmackDown as well. He got a lot of over on LA Knight after the match was over, and then he had that whole stare down with them. Wasn't there also something too in the entranceway? They gave him a bit of a promo as well.
Yeah.
They were getting a lot of attention to him. I think they're strapping the rocket to Jacob Fatu, so I think this is the start of a big push for him. So Strowman is just the first casualty, I think, for his big push.
Are we building towards maybe Jacob versus Solo? Building Jacob up for Solo to return and try to wrestle control from him?
Yeah, I think it's going to go even past that. I think we're building towards a huge Jacob versus Roman match in the future. I think
Maybe Solo first and then Roman? I don't know.
Yeah. I think so.
Okay, and so Braun Strowman, Jacob. I think we both see Jacob beating Braun Strowman. I think Jacob is in line for something big. They like him.
Makes sense. Why not?
Yeah.
He looks great.
And finally, Rhea Ripley defending the Women's World Championship against Nia Jax.
So we both correctly said that Bayley was going to Raw, which happened, right?
Yeah,
She
predicted
went to
that
Raw,
easily.
debuted,
And she keeps
and
losing,
lost.
too, Bayley. She lost to Tiffy Time on SmackDown, then she comes to Raw and loses to Nia Jax. Why does she keep losing? What a jabroni.
And isn't Nia still on SmackDown?
I don't know where she's on all the shows for some reason.
Yeah, she's on
every
all the shows.
every WWE show, there's Nia Jax wrestling for some reason. Raw and SmackDown, I have to watch Nia Jax wrestle on all the shows
Can't
in
escape.
long matches. It's ridiculous. I can't believe how much Nia Jax we get, John, because she is on all the shows. And she wrestles a lot. And it's never good.
I did enjoy that moment, though. I don't know if you caught it when Roxanne Perez was trying to get into the ring on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
The security guard grabbed her, and I don't know if you caught it. Roxanne knocked out a fan.
What?
When she was struggling.
I didn't
I
see
don't know if you
that.
saw that.
No.
Fan was sitting down, and Roxanne with her foot super kicked the fan. Bam! Fan went down.
Wow.
That was not supposed to happen.
Ouch. That's bad.
Ouchie.
Yeah. Well, casualties of war.
Yeah. There's just too much Nia Jax. Hey, did you hear CM Punk in his promo kind of take a shot at Sami Zayn? He was kind of running down people in the Rumble Roman Reigns, get him out. Cena, I can't see him winning the Rumble. And then he's like, Sami Zayn, he's not really worth talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, I missed that part. He said that? Wow, I missed that part.
Yeah.
Wow.
Or he's like, he's not even worth my time or something. He just kind of was like...
Not on my
Sami.
level or something?
Yeah, not on my level, something. Just very dismissive comment of Sami Zayn,
They
just kind of
haven't
out of nowhere.
interacted yet.
And they're
Really?
both baby faces. I mean, he was saying stuff about Cena and Roman too, but he was just the way he talked about Sammy was kind of yeah, Sammy. I was like, oh, okay, that's good.
Well, I think Sammy said that in interviews in the past. Like, they've had beef, they settled their beef. They're not friends, but they can learn to work together, and they did it at Survivor Series. So
Oh,
that's
yeah.
what happened. I think it's more Kevin Owens and CM Punk. I don't see that ever really working out.
They're not friends, but they can learn to work together. That always works out real well for CM Punk. Come on. How many comments is Punk going to make on the microphone before Sammy goes to him backstage and says, "Hey, man, what's your problem?" And then Punk chokes Sammy unconscious.
I mean, that'd be pretty cool.
You know what I mean? Like, this is what Punk does. Punk is a great instigator. He's fantastic because, he's not a great fighter, but he did train to fight in the UFC, which gives him a good base level of skills that most of the guys don't have. So he knows that he can handle himself in a lot of situations. And then he goes out on the microphone in front of everybody and just buries people. And then says, "If you got a problem with it, come see me." And then when they do come see him, he attacks them immediately. And, then blames them for coming to see him and being aggressive or whatever. It's a great move. It's really good. I need to master it a little bit.
Also, Punk being like really bad in the UFC gives like everyone else an image of like, well, I could probably take, even if he said some trade, I could probably take him because
Yeah, but that's the great thing. That's a great.
It's not like Brock Lesnar. It's like, oh, that guy like beat up Randy Couture.
Exactly. Well, yeah, Brock. I mean, they would get eaten up in a minute, and they all know it. But the great deception of CM Punk's UFC career is that yes, he was a terrible UFC fighter, but even he was maybe the worst UFC fighter ever as far as
a punch.
I mean, maybe the early days, whatever. But I'd say in the modern era, in the Zuffa, post-Zuffa era, since Dana White bought the company, CM Punk may have been the lowest level martial artist to ever step foot in the octagon. And that's saying a lot. Like, Punk was just inexperienced and unskilled. And it showed. But even then, because he's gone through the training, even, the worst UFC fighter is going to beat somebody who doesn't have any training to speak. Even if you're athletic, whatever.
But I could see some wrestlers having an idea like, I could probably
like
take
Sami Zayn, I don't think was an amateur wrestler. I don't know if he has any martial arts training to speak of, but he certainly didn't go through MMA training camps against professional MMA fighters where he had to survive. And that, gives you a certain advantage. So CM Punk has that going for him.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of a deception. It's kind of like, Punk sucks at fighting. Yeah, he does for a professional UFC fighter, but that doesn't mean you can beat him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you like his odds against guys like Jungle Boy, like you saw.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he's Luke Perry's son. I like my odds against Jungle Boy. You know what I mean? I also wonder about my odds against CM Punk, but that's another story. I wonder. I mean,
I think you could take Sami Zayn.
Well, I don't know. I don't want to fight any of these guys. But, is Punk training? You know what I mean? His body's pretty banged up. I don't know. Jiu-jitsu-wise, it could happen. But I feel like CM Punk, he's an instigator. And he pushes people, and he just waits. It's fun. He lays a trap, and then he just waits. He's mean.
And, it helps that it's in his character, TV character, to be a guy who, takes pot shots at people. So him,
great.
him, taking that shot at Sami Zayn, he's like, oh, yeah, that's something Punk would say, I guess.
It's just business, brother.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But, he could just keep saying it.
He's a master manipulator. He's really good. He won't take big shots at people, that could whoop his ass, though.
No.
There are guys in the WWE that could smash him to pieces, I don't think he's going to say really mean things about, Braun Strowman. Because Braun Strowman's so big. He's so big. He could just pick Punk up. Throw him,
But Braun Strowman, thought he could handle Brock Lesnar in the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
Beat him in the face. And then Brock went, bah!
because
I told
Braun,
him to slow down.
because Braun, I think, is so gigantic and he'd never really fought and never, but maybe he'd been in some bar fights or whatever, and he won because he was fighting normal men. So he couldn't fathom losing a fight in any kind of way, and then he went up against a legit heavyweight championship level fighter who is also, big and strong, and Brock showed him like, hey, son.
I just remember Brock just like threw one punch in his gut.
Yeah.
And you just saw Braun just go like,
yeah. Braun tried to rough up Brock in the Rumble.
And then he took a shot to the head and he like almost like got knocked out.
Yeah.
It was fantastic.
Brock threw live rounds at Braun Strowman because Braun was trying to like be tough and like do stuff to Brock, and Brock was like, what? And Brock just beat the shit out of him.
Yeah, it was a fantastic moment.
Because there's a difference between being big and strong and being actually trained and skilled. Like, technique and skill and knowledge is really important in being able to fight and put people away. You could be tough and strong, but being able to finish the job is like a complicated thing that you need to learn how to do. You know what I mean? It's complex. Fighting is hard. Fighting is really hard.
And lucky for Punk, this is a work, so he doesn't have to worry about that. In order to win the Rumble, he just has to be a good talker, and he's pretty good at that.
Yeah, and he can shoot a little bit, so he can run his mouth all he wants, and no one can really do anything.
What Punk has to worry about most is not like tearing his tricep or something.
Yeah.
Or his pecs,
He's got to worry about not getting
on
injured.
the shelf for 6 months.
Well, that's it.
That's, I think, his biggest worry.
Fragile ego, fragile body, fragile whatever. John Moxley is in AEW. He's still doing all that stuff. It's annoying, man. Jeff Jarrett's calling him out. Then Claudio's like, if you want to get John Moxley, you got to go through me first.
Jesus.
So now Claudio's going to wrestle Jeff Jarrett, and it's just... This whole Jeff Jarrett run is just outrageous. What is AEW doing, man? What are they doing to me? Kenny and Will Ospreay are like a tag team. Kenny's promo on Will Ospreay I thought was the best thing on Dynamite this week. He was like, people only know your name. Like, you thought you were better than me. I knew you were never better than me. I got diverticulitis, and then me going away is the only reason why people know who you are now, and I don't need you, and I've come back, and it's still clear you think you're better than me, but you're not, and I'm still the best, and it's like, oh, shit. And it felt like a very real promo from Kenny Omega telling Will Ospreay exactly how he felt, and there always feels like there's real tension between them, but they're also teaming up against the evil Don Callis family because those guys hate Kenny and they hate Ospreay, so Kenny and Ospreay are bound together to take on the Callis family. But man, that promo on Ospreay was just scathing, and he just ripped into Ospreay, and it felt very real and very tense. And Kenny's got a legit point, because Ospreay is great, but so is Kenny. And when you see Kenny back in peak form, like for a while there, you're like, God damn, Ospreay's the best. And then Kenny comes back and you're like, oh yeah, you're kind of reminded of like, wow, he's also incredible, and there's so much there, and it's Kenny Omega, and it's like big, and the aura and the majesty of it all, like
North Carolina.
Yeah, there's not. It's not that. It's just Winnipeg. Yeah, it's better. New theme music too. The new Kenny presentation is really good as well. The intensity of Kenny, it's just like, oh, okay. The cleaner is here. The best bout machine is here. It's like there's something with Kenny Omega. He's very special. I feel like he's a polarizing figure in wrestling too. Like the people that love him, like me, love him like with a passion, and the people that don't like him like hate him for some reason.
Cornette.
Yeah, well that's it, and a lot of his fans. But there's other people, you know. But man, Kenny is magical, and yeah, Ospreay is great, but something special about Kenny. Because Kenny, sorry, John, but Kenny also, like, there's that change the world thing with Kenny. Like, he's a big thinker about wrestling and changing the business and growing and evolving. And, like, you know, it's like a different thing with Kenny Omega. He thinks about wrestling on a different level than anyone else. It's like a different way. He's very unique. He's very unique. And Ospreay is, you know, he's a cool wrestler and he's good, but there's something, he doesn't feel that different. He just feels more athletic and just better. You know what I mean? But he doesn't feel that, like, that different of a character than some people that we've seen kind of in the past, whereas Kenny feels like a completely different thing that's never been seen before, that we may never see again. Like, he's a very unique wrestling character, and that speaks to who he is as a person. So, yeah, he's a magical guy. Kenny is great. AEW is so much better to have him around. I'm so happy he's healthy.
Well, I just felt that it was well done in terms of how they scripted this, because Will gave Kenny a good line to fight back on when he said, like, "Oh, you're alive." And that kind of motivated Kenny to fire back on Will, because, you know, that's kind of rough, because, yeah, he almost did die, actually. So that was rough to say.
Yeah. Well, Ospreay got one line in, but then Kenny went in on Ospreay.
He did. And then they had the brawl, and
yeah,
like, I didn't mind the brawl. It just didn't make a lot of sense to me. Like, if anything, the Don Callis family, like, they looked really bad. I was 4-on-2, and they couldn't get the job done.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and that moonsault thing too. The camera work, they kind of messed that up a bit. They're like, I barely saw Kenny's moonsault. I pretty much just saw Ospreay's moonsault.
Yeah,
which was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, the post-match brawl, like, I'm not a big fan of the brawling through the crowd and doing little stunts here and there. Like, yeah. I didn't need it, you know? Save it for the match. And again, the 4-on-2, it didn't really make sense that Kenny and Ospreay were able to kind of get the upper hand on all four of the Callis family members, but whatever, is something to pop the crowd, right? I think that's what they were going for, pop the crowd.
Well, and that started the show, right? I'm like, well, that's one way to start the show. And to me, like, the Ospreay moonsault, like, that looked extremely high. And even Kenny's kind of looked high, but it was hard to tell because, like, the camera angle was terrible.
Yeah.
Like, that's definitely one way to get the crowd going. But, like, I almost felt that should have almost ended the show, because that felt like that was really the high mark of the show.
Yes. Although we did lead into the Hurt Syndicate, Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin beating Private Party to become new AEW Tag Team Champions, which was nice to see because Private Party were pretty mid as Tag Team Champions, and Bobby and Shelton are a legit tag team that are fun to watch. And like I've been saying, I don't want to see them do a singles run in AEW at this point in their careers. As a tag team, though, I've got a lot of time for them. I think it makes a ton of sense. Having them as tag team champions was what I wanted to see, and they gave it to me this week, so that was nice. And I'm glad that, you know, we're putting Lashley and Shelton in the tag division where they can hold the tag belts for a while until it's time for the Young Bucks to take them back when the Bucks show up again. And Lashley won't be able to politic his way out of not losing that match to the Young Bucks because they have way more stroke in the company than Bobby Lashley does. And the Bucks, unfortunately for Swerve, have more stroke in the company than Swerve does, apparently, because the word is, the report was Lashley didn't want to do the job for Swerve. Lashley beat Swerve on a pay-per-view, and I thought, why? He's old, Swerve is young, and the up-and-comer, and a future big star in the business, and a main eventer, and a world champion for AEW. Why, oh why, is old-ass, mid-card WWE Bobby Lashley beating Swerve in the first big match? And apparently the idea was for Swerve to get the win back But old Roberto said, no, I'm not feeling that, brother. And Tony Khan couldn't get it done, so he just had Bobby beat Swerve. Swerve doesn't get the rematch, and instead of capitalizing on it, even for a singles move for Bobby, which would have been awful, they're just going to pivot and put him in the tag division, and Swerve just has to eat the loss and move on and hopefully beat Ricochet, who was like a reject of Lashley and Shelton's and is now doing his own thing where he's an annoying heel. Like, that, if that's true, that they were going to do the rematch and Lashley said no to losing to Swerve, I really got to wonder why. I mean, come on, Bobby. It's the thing to do. You shouldn't have beat Swerve in the first place. What you should have said no to was going over in the first place. You're like 49 years old, dude. What are you doing? Come on.
Okay, well, a couple
Tony
things.
Khan can't.
And Tony Khan, like, what are you
can't
doing?
Sell it. He can't push it. He can't say,
can't make
I'm the
it happen?
boss. This is my
company. Do it.
Yeah.
No, and instead, and this is the great part about Tony Khan, instead of punishing Bobby Lashley, burying him, whatever, gives him the tag belts.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, you don't want to do that, Bobby? Okay, well, we'll give you and Shelton to run with the tag belts, okay?
You my friend now? Are you my friend?
Is that okay? We're cool?
You want to come over for cake and ice cream?
You want to hang out?
You want to play Fight Forever? I'll create you.
No, nobody wants to play Fight Forever, Tony. We're going to play 2K. Okay.
Oh, Fight Forever's great. Yes, come on.
It sucks, Tony.
No, come on, guys.
It does suck.
I'll be your friend.
WWE 2K kills AEW Fight Forever. They're supposed to come out with a good wrestling game, and they fucked it up. And they'll never come out with another game because they botched the first one. Goddamn. They had it. Like, they had the opportunity to be a big wrestling company, and they fucked it up, and now they're just a mid-wrestling company.
Yeah, and 2K was like in a bad spot. Like, there was like a really glitchy game, and then
they had a lane.
Up their game.
They had a lane, and they failed. And WWE 2K, like, I have AEW Fight Forever. I have the latest WWE 2K. I never play Fight Forever. I never want to play Fight Forever. We play 2K all the time. We play 2K tonight.
Tons of fun.
It's so much fun. It's so good.
The roster's insane.
It's great. It's great. He brought another controller. We had 3 players on the PS4 playing WWE 2K24.
British Bulldog won the Rumble.
British Bulldog won the Rumble, baby. He got revenge. It was great. Eliminated Shawn Michaels. Not this time, Shawn. Not this time. You're not doing it to me again, Shawn.
You know, you can do that.
It was great. We had a great time.
Diesel was there.
Yeah.
Dusty Rhodes.
A lot of fun.
Rob Van Dam.
What a great game.
So a couple of things just to say about Bobby Lashley here.
Yes.
You kind of buried me. I don't think that's true about Bobby Lashley. One, because they kind of hyped him and Swerve for All In. They did that press conference.
Okay.
And they hyped that match is probably going to happen there. So I think
Will it, though?
the match is still going to happen.
Don't know.
It's been delayed. And what we're doing in the meantime is this tag team run, which I think makes a lot of sense. I know you're like, oh, they're heels. Like, clearly they're baby faces. Yeah. Like, you could tell, like, the way the reaction was, like, people loved the Hurt Business. Like, when they put, was it Zay through a table? Like, they were popping like crazy. It wasn't sympathy, like, oh, I feel bad for Hurt, feel bad for Pride Party. It's cheer Hurt Syndicate because they love what Bobby was doing. They were chanting for Bobby when he would just get in the ring. So, like, to me, like, they're kind of changing the direction with them right now. Like, they're baby faces, so them against Swerve doesn't really make a lot of sense at this point.
Yeah, but there was a time where the rematch made a lot of sense.
You're talking about, I think, for World's End.
I mean, they drifted away from it, too.
They did drift away from it, yeah.
Yeah.
But like, it's still open. It could still happen. And I think All In, it could very well happen.
Do you think Swerve will win?
I mean, it's to get the win back. Yeah, if they're doing the match, he's going to have to get the win back. And plus, another thing, that was Bobby's first match in AEW. Like, he should win his first match.
Yeah, well, they shouldn't have booked him against Swerve in his first match either. It's a weird move. But even if okay, fine, have Bobby win, but the rematch needs to happen where Swerve gets the win back. Because Swerve is the guy that needs to go over ultimately against Bobby, don't you think? In a Bobby versus Swerve feud, Swerve should win 2 out of 3 if they're going to do 3, right?
Sure, if they do that. And like I think if he wins on a bigger stage, which All in Texas probably will be, I think it's better for Swerve, no?
Maybe. The Private Party got their first run with the AEW Tag Team titles. We thought it was a terrible idea when they did it. And in retrospect, we were 100% correct because it's been a terrible run, and they stopped it, out of mercy for the fans, I think. It didn't work.
They tried. It didn't work out. I think it was kind of like a sympathy kind of thing. Like, it felt like they shouldn't even beat the Bucks, really, but no. I think the Bucks kind of
match
felt
was
bad
so
for
bad.
them.
The matches were so bad. The pay-per-view match was worse. The TV match wasn't great when they won, but the pay-per-view match was so awful. I don't care I don't care how many stars Dave Meltzer gave that stinker.
Is it 40 minutes that match?
He probably gave it like 5 stars because he's ridiculous. But it was so awful. And then that was the match where they're like, yeah, we think they're good. Let's put the titles on them. It's like, what? You just have a good match you have a match that the Young Bucks are happy with the Young Bucks, and, good things can happen for your career. It sucked, and then their run was bad, and it ended kind of with a whimper, and they did nothing. So, thank you, AEW. Thanks for moving along and giving us now Lashley and Shelton a legit tag team. Shelton once part of the world's greatest tag team.
That's right. Charlie Haas.
So he's a tag team expert.
Where's Charlie Haas?
He's around.
Is he still with Jackie Gaeta?
No.
Oh, no.
No. Edge beat Pac in the main event of Dynamite, and then got beat up by Jon Moxley's goons. And Jay White tried to save him, but then Jay White got beat up by Jon Moxley's goons. And then Jon Moxley's goons did concerto to the Rock and Roll Express, who were there, I guess. I don't know what the hell they were doing there. I had no idea they were. Rock and Roll Express keeps showing up backstage just to get assaulted by Jon Moxley and his friends. They're not on the show ever. And then we see them, and they're, like, dead on the ground because Moxley has killed them. And you're like, why does this keep... This is the second time this has happened in a matter of weeks. They're not part of the show. They're not on the roster. They just show up backstage to be dead old guys that you kind of know.
Yeah.
What the fuck is going on?
Sympathy to be like, oh, stop beating up these bloody old guys.
What the fuck is this, man? Why did this happen again? When I saw them again, I was like, "Is this a repeat?" No, this is now. This is not Collision. They're not showing us Collision from 6 weeks ago. They're just showing us them beating up Rock and Roll Express again. Did I miss something? Was Rock and Roll Express there earlier in the night? I don't think so. I think they're just there. Also, FTR was there getting assaulted. I didn't see them earlier in the night at all. But they're backstage with Rock and Roll Express. Apparently, they were in the building this whole time, and they're getting, tortured by Moxley and his friends, concussed, beaten,
Maybe
bloodied.
It's like Jeff Jarrett's going to stand up because, the legacy of the Rock and Roll Express in Tennessee and
maybe
all that.
It might be that.
Weren't they big in Tennessee?
I think Edge is trying to stand up for them too.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Is Jim Cornette going to come out,
No. Definitely not. Especially
Did
not
he manage them?
No, yeah, but at this point in this stage of AEW, he would not. No, I don't think so. I don't think I would. It's bad. Yeah. What the fuck, man?
You're missing like the important part. They had the plastic bag over Ricky Morton's head,
right?
When they did the concerto as well. Like,
although
okay, but why were they there? Do they just show up to take backstage beatings now?
Well, remember they had hyped this before. They said when they come back to Knoxville, and they said they would be there again, right? So they were there. So that's what happened. It was high. It was advertised.
But shouldn't they come out to the crowd first and like wave so they're like, oh, we established Rock and Roll Express are there, instead of just like imagine you're watching Monday Night Raw, you don't know Hulk Hogan's gonna be there, and then you cut backstage, and the Judgment Day is just beating the shit out of Hogan, and he's bleeding, and he's just dead on the floor, and you're like, and your first thought is, oh shit, Hogan's here, and then your second thought is, what the fuck is happening to Hogan right now? Because they didn't advertise him. They didn't hype him. They didn't mention that he was going to be on the show. But here he is, a legend of the business, unconscious backstage for his only appearance of the night, to be unconscious, bleeding backstage, with a plastic bag over his head, too. Because this is what we do. It is ludicrous booking. It's ridiculous. And the Rock and Roll Express are getting a paycheck for this too, brother. That's the work of it all. Yeah. They're getting money out of Tony Khan to lie down backstage. They're not actually taking a beating, guys. It's all fake. We never see them get beat up. Every time we see them, they're just lying down backstage. So they're literally taking a paycheck to lie down on camera. I wonder how much Tony Khan is paying these legends of the business.
And based on stories I've read over the years about the Rock and Roll Express, I bet having a plastic bag over your hair is probably like turned on.
All right. Take it easy.
Well,
but, I mean,
weird.
What in the fuck? What a waste of money and time. Because it does absolutely nothing. Because we also, here's the headline of it all. Without establishing them on AEW TV in any meaningful way, when you see them beaten up backstage, no one gives a shit.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make Moxley and his friends seem worse. It just makes them seem like, oh, yeah, you're bad. And it's even more useless when you do it twice. It's like, oh, the Rock and Roll Express, what do they mean for AEW? Nothing. Do they wrestle? No. They're very old. Have they ever wrestled in AEW? No. They're very old. What's their affiliation? FTR likes them. How do we know this? Well, they talk about it on Twitter. Okay. And why do we care? Like, there's no reason to care. It does nothing. It's so useless to have these guys beat up backstage. So here's some old men. It could be any old man. It could literally be any old man. And it would not make a difference. Because the headline for the Moxley crew is, they beat up old men. It's not Rock and Roll Express. Like, no one cares that it's Rock and Roll Express. Because they haven't been established in any way on AEW TV. And they really haven't been established in any way on wrestling TV in about 40 years. Like, I've never seen the Rock and Roll Express in WCW, in WWF, on AEW, in TNA, in any meaningful way. In any meaningful way, John. I saw them in the WWF for a brief period when they were not meaningful, and they looked like shit. By the way, they've always kind of looked like shit. And they really stuck out as like, who are these wrestlers? When they were in WWF in the 90s, it was like, these guys don't fit in because their bodies are awful and everybody else is huge around them. Like, what? They looked like old men in the 90s. The fact that they're still around is like, it's amazing. They're still alive. But I don't want to see them on TV. And I am a hardcore wrestling fan. And I don't really have any kind of I'm too young to have any feeling towards the Rock and Roll Express. What age group is this trying to hit? The 60-plus demographic? I mean, I think that's who would be interested in the Rock and Roll Express. You'd have to have seen them in, like, the 70s. And to be aware of things in the 70s, you have to be at least 55-ish, I'd say, at this point, right?
Yeah, they might as well beat up like Billy Gunn.
Because if you're 50, if you're turning 50 this year, you're born in 1975. You really don't have a good feeling of the Rock and Roll Express. So this is the over 50 demo that AEW is trying to appeal to with the Rock and Roll Express getting beat up. because no one else in the AEW demographic has grown up or has any sentimental affiliation or feeling towards the Rock and Roll Express, and they haven't shown them on TV to help you in that direction at all. You would think if anyone would give a shit, it would be guys like us, but it's not.
No.
We're too young. So they're really trying to hit very old people who I don't think are watching. I mean, I'm not saying you're 50 plus, you're very old, but you know what I mean? Like, why are they trying to hit this odd demo with this weird story that's dumb? It's very bad.
I keep trying to picture them in the WWF, but all I keep remembering is Bob Holly and Bart Gunn as the new Midnight Express.
You are too young to
Bring
remember
back the new
them.
Midnight Express.
Like, you're too young. I remember them because I'm 5 years older than you, but you're too young to remember them in WWF because it was like 96, 97-ish, I'd say. Maybe 98.
98, yeah.
98.
Yeah, it was like brief. Like,
yeah, you're like 7, 8 years old at the time. You
was
don't
Cornette
remember.
managing them? Well, that was the Midnight Express. That was the Bob Holly and Bart Gunn.
Yeah.
That was Cornette.
Yeah, Cornette was managing them. He had the tennis racket. Wasn't that the NWA run where they had like the NWA tag titles or something?
Is that the Midnight
That's
Express?
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, wasn't the Midnight Express in there too? They just tried to do that in WWF, and I was like, why?
Yeah, it didn't really work out too well. I think it was just to kind of put down NWA. That's what it kind of looked like, and I think that's what they kind of achieved in that.
This is how much they sucked and looked bad. And this is what my recollection is of the Rock and Roll Express, and this is probably why I have that picture of them, is because WWF brought them in to be like, look how shitty these guys are.
Mhm.
They're the NWA Tag Team Champions. Isn't the NWA stupid? Look at these idiots. And I was like, yeah, they do suck, Vince. Correct. And that's my feeling on the Rock and Roll Express.
And like probably like the acolytes were like WWF Tag Team Champions. It's
They
like,
just-
yeah, those guys, those are champions.
Yeah, the real ones squashed the Rock
or
and
the
Roll
Road
Express.
Warriors, or like, yeah.
They were literally brought in to make the NWA look shitty because of how shitty they looked. I know there's a whole group of wrestling fans who are like, these guys are the greatest tag team in the history of the... It's like, well, cool for you, but it never worked for me. Never worked. Don't get it.
I want to
Not
say
for me.
Survivor Series 2, Survivor Series 94, I think they had the Heavenly Bodies against the Rock and Roll Express.
Wonderful.
Wait,
Random stuff.
Was the Heavenly Bodies the same as the Body Donnas?
No.
Oh,
No, but Tom Pritchard, yes,
okay.
but not Skip.
Was it Chris Candido? No.
Yeah, Chris Candido was Skip, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. That was the Body Donuts.
With Sonny.
That's right.
Yeah.
Sonny.
Sonny.
But going back to the Moxley thing, this is done just to add to their hit list because they've taken care of Bryan Danielson, ended him. They ended Darby Allin. Now they've ended the Rock and Roll Express. So they're just adding to the Death Riders
The
hit
Legend
list.
Killers?
They killed Darby Allin? He's dead now?
They said they did, right? I guess because he's climbing Mount Everest, right? So
What about Orange Cassidy? Didn't he die too? They killed him. Haven't seen him in a while.
I don't know if they beat him up quite a few times, but I don't think they've added him to the hit list though.
Well, they beat him up so many times, like he hasn't been seen in weeks, no?
It's been a while, yeah.
It's been a while since I've seen
Orange
Cassidy.
Cassidy.
Funny how everything can be a song with you guys. It's unbelievable tonight.
It happens. It happens, brother. Okay, well, we've done it all. We've seen it all. We've said it all. I want
I feel
to
like there's
thank...
something else.
What?
There's something else that happened on Dynamite, was there not?
No.
Oh yeah, like did you guys notice how like they are forcing like Harley Cameron like on us like crazy on the show? Did you not catch that?
Well, her song was kind of funny.
Well, you enjoyed it. Well, yeah, I guess you guys like music. So sure.
Yeah. No,
people liking music.
Yeah. I mean, she doesn't have a bad voice. Her song was kind of funny. She's kind of quirky and funny. And, you know. I mean, sorry, but when I see Harley Cameron, I like it. You know who Harley Cameron is?
I have an idea.
She's the one with the,
Yeah.
you know.
She
Hachi Machi.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Harley Cameron. Do you know who I'm talking
I
about?
think so. She's Soraya's lackey at one point.
It was.
Yeah,
She's
yeah,
like
yeah,
also
yeah,
British.
Yeah.
They're Australian or something.
They're always out there, big time.
Yeah.
Big time.
I think Australian.
And she made a joke about it in her song, which I thought was funny. Because, I mean, she knows. She knows. We all know. So I thought that was amusing. She's amusing. She's got a great look. So.
Sure, but it's forced. Like, she's all over the place there.
Well, I don't know. There was
She's
like
with
one
Tony?
promo with Mercedes. What else was it?
No, she was with Tony Storm as well. Like, you didn't see that?
Was she? Oh, yeah,
she
briefly
was.
there with Tony. Oh, because they're trying to set up a match for her in Australia because they're hyping the Australia thing and she's also Australian. Yeah, okay. They did do 2 Harley Cameron promos. It was a bit much, but the guitar one was kind of funny and the Tony Storm one was kind of funny. Like, I don't know. They weren't bad. I feel like she's kind of funny.
Okay, well, I thought it was just like it's a little too much, but if you like it, I guess it works.
Maybe I'm just blinded by it. I don't know. I find her fine. She's funny. She does sing pretty good too. Like she's got a decent voice. I was surprised. I was like, oh, she can sing. No?
That's what wrestlers do now. They
I'm not
sing
gonna
their
just-
songs.
She's talented. She's a talented person.
Does Joe Hendry sing the Joe Hendry song? I think so.
I don't know about him. I never got on board
He's
the
gonna be
Joe
in the
Hendry.
Rumble probably.
I didn't get involved in the Joe Hendry thing. I was not interested. TNA. It's not worth my time. Am I right, John?
I'm pretty much on the same boat with you on that one.
Yeah.
But like I'm still not sold on Harley Cameron. I've seen her wrestle. I'm just not sold on her yet.
Well, I think you're going to have to because she's sticking around. She's going to be on AEW TV. They're clearly giving her a push right now. Britt Baker may be done in AEW. The word is her contract is still there, but she's not cooperating or happy with AEW, or they're not happy with her, and they're just keeping her home. And I guess it's a matter of time before her contract runs out and she goes to WWE. I would think they would sign her. She's a talent. It's weird. Something went wrong in AEW. Again.
Well, you know what went wrong, right? I mean, the whole thing with MJF or something, like that incident that apparently happened. Like,
Yeah, but
that's
what
pretty
exactly
bad.
happened?
Well, the story that's out there, which of course could be like maybe some of it's true, maybe some of it's not even completely true,
Right.
is that she complained about MJF and Will Ospreay because I guess they had that match on Dynamite that was like went to a time limit draw that was so long,
Okay.
and complained about them pretty much taking up all the time,
Right.
and more so Max taking up the time, and that his girlfriend was there in the locker room hearing that, and then Max hears that, and apparently that led to a lot of unfriendliness between the two. Yeah, I could see that. Like, if you upset one of the top stars, MJF being one of the top stars, I could see that causing problems.
Maybe management sided with MJF and Britt wasn't happy with what MJF had said to her or something. Like, who knows what actually went down. But maybe, I mean, there was also, we haven't really seen Britt since she lost to Mercedes, and there was talk that maybe her and Mercedes weren't getting along, and, I don't know. There was
She's
always
also part
controversy
two,
with Britt
Britt.
Baker. Thunder Rosa, there was always
is.
something going on.
Jamie Hayter as well, like how Jamie Hayter came back without Britt and had to come back only without Britt.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe WWE doesn't want her. Maybe there's something there with Britt.
Well, I think she's a great talent, though. I mean,
Yeah.
in terms of talking on the mic, she's one of the better
Yeah.
women wrestlers talking on the mic. So, I mean,
Yeah.
just that alone, she's worth the investment, I think.
A lot of disagreements, though. Maybe too much heat.
Yeah, she might not be like what's the term they use? Coachable.
Maybe not good for the locker room, But, I mean, they brought in CM Punk, so I guess they don't care about that. Good for the locker room? Who cares? If you're a
The
star.
thing is, though, she's still like a dentist though, right? Like,
No.
like
She
she's
stopped
still
that.
actually
Well, she could
completely.
like take it up.
Yeah,
again.
yeah.
I mean, like
I'm
she
pretty
could
sure.
get a license to. Or she.
She said she had like a neck injury and like the dentistry was just kind of too hard on her neck with the wrestling, and she decided to stop. I'm pretty sure she said that at some point in the past couple
I
years.
thought it was just fans were too much.
No, I think it was like it was too hard on her body past couple years. I remember seeing that.
Well, that might be better in a sense, like because that's two professions like that. That'd be very like AEW is possible with their schedule, but WWE that'd be impossible.
Yeah, I think she could definitely go to WWE, and why not? And apparently WWE already expecting Aleister Black to come back because his contract is about to run out, and they're making plans for him to return. So
look for
you
Zelina
saw
Vega to
Dynamite
get a
too?
push.
yeah, what?
What they said on Dynamite, like they had the whole like
Yeah,
what's left of the House of Black. What they said, they pretty much wrote him out.
yeah. They're like, we don't have a leader. We're just the same, whatever. And they basically said, like, yeah, he's gone. He is gone. The House of Black is moving on.
They also edited like Julia Hart's song. I don't know if you caught that or not.
No.
Where it says that the house always wins, it changes to like the heart always wins.
Oh.
Oh.
Unless there's a
Black
screw
is
job,
out.
brother.
Black is out. I think.
Then the heart loses. Just ask Shawn Michaels. Okay. Okay, Johnny, when's your next match? When can people see you in the ring?
So it's going to be February 15th in Sudbury. I'll be defending for the first time the Northern Heritage Championship.
All right.
And you can get tickets at projecttix.com.
Very nice.
TIX.com.
ProjectXTix.com. Go check him out. Johnny North, great professional wrestler. And I will be back next Thursday at 8 p.m. for Ringside Report MMA, when we'll be previewing UFC UFC Saudi Arabia. And then next Friday, Johnny, you and I will be previewing WWE's Royal Rumble. We are a week away from the Rumble. Next week, we give you our official Rumble picks, and then we'll be on the road to WrestleMania. So that'll be fun. Shout out to everybody in the chat, all the members. Ray Cruz, Angelo Contagonis, Leor, Patrick Deneau, Jason Pete, Antoinette. So many members checking in tonight. CSL Lorne. Yeah. And many more checking in on YouTube, on all the channels. Thank you for tuning in tonight on a Friday, joining us here. However you watch, we appreciate you. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel. If you have not subscribed, please subscribe, like the video, leave a comment, and we will keep on producing the top MMA and pro wrestling content for you here on the Ringside Report Network.
Thanks for sticking with us to the end. We would really appreciate it if you could help us spread the word.
You know the drill. Hit that subscribe button, flip those notification switches.
We are an audience-supported network, so consider becoming a recurring supporter at membership.ringsidereport.net. Check out our website at ringsidereport.net. Hope to see you again next time, and have a good night.